Trauma is not the physical abuse. Trauma is not the verbal assault. Oftentimes you'll hear people say, I went through a trauma, or they've been traumatized, or this was their trauma, or that was their trauma. The reason why I want to make this distinction here is because it's really important when it comes to the development of young people and the different types of trauma and responses to those events that you're going to see in your professional world, or you've probably already seen. The event itself is the dangerous and threatening event of physical abuse, of verbal abuse, of whatever it is, getting robbed, getting assaulted. That is an experience in and of itself, and it's actually the response to that. That's the trauma. Trauma develops in response to those types of events. And the reason that's important to distinguish is because everybody who gets assaulted is not going to develop trauma. Everybody who's physically abused is not going to develop trauma. Everybody who's emotionally neglected is not going to develop trauma. The reason for this is because we are conglomeration of many different resilience factors, of different personality factors, of different mitigating factors in our family, in our environment. And so for one person, one experience may be traumatizing, and that same experience may not be traumatizing for another person. And that's why it can be so difficult to diagnose trauma. We're going to talk a little bit about complex trauma in a little bit, and how complex it can get, and why there's just so many variables when it comes to kind of the human being and the subjective. And that's the key attribute. It's that subconsciously or psychically, when there's a trauma, it's because there has been this fear, there has been this very frightening, dangerous, at least perceived dangerous experience that has kind of rocked somebody to the core.